All right, the Colorado Avalanche head north to Alberta, and in a raucous atmosphere at the Rogers Place, the Avalanche take Game 3 and now have a 3-0 lead on Edmonton, one win away from the Stanley Cup final. Now, that is obviously all well and good. Things are looking very good for the Colorado Avalanche. We are not counting any chickens before they have hatched yet. We still have to get that one more game. So there's a lot of good to talk about here, but there is one glaring bad, and that is Nazem Kadri. And we got the word real quickly after the game was over from Jared Bednar that he will be out for the remainder of this series, if not longer. A lot to talk about with this game. Like we said, it's like the yin and the yang. You're feeling good because the Avs are now up 3-0, and then you get that news. But is this different than last year when Nazem Kadri was no longer with the Avs because of the hit in the St. Louis series? Just feels a little bit different with this team. Got a lot to break down. Let's get to it.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Avalanche fans, welcome to a special Sunday episode, Sunday brunch with Shaggy and myself here today. Why? Because it was a weekend game and it's the playoffs, so we're not going to take a day off either. Avs go into Edmonton and take this one. What a game. A very hard-fought game, the way that you thought it would be. In one aspect, not so much with Evander Kane and the hit that he had on Nazem Kadri. We'll talk about that. A lot to get to because the Avs are up 3-0. I don't think a lot of people thought this would happen. When we did our crossover with Brett, all of us were like, this is a 7-game series. It's not over. But, man, if Edmonton can come back and win 4 in a row against the Avalanche, that will be an achievement of all achievements. So I'm going to bring in Mr. Shaggy Von Doom here in a second, but first things first, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com, and follow the show over on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe and get notified when a new show goes live. Almost at 1,000 people. Let's
I know.
break that barrier. All right, man. So first of all, give me your thoughts on the game.
Well, it's now Sunday. We just beat McJesus.
Mm-hmm.
It only is appropriate. No, I'm confused. I'm confounded and confused. The Avalanche are up 3-0 on the Edmonton Oilers. Like on paper and on like the eye test, the Avs look good in how they handle this high-powered forward core that the Edmonton Oilers have. They can't convert the power play. Tonight was the first night of the series they've been winning faceoffs, when statistically it's not supposed to be this way. Edmonton had more high-danger shots. And you're not getting your scoring other than like the empty net cleanup from your big guys. It's like Nuke and JT Compher. Like it's very confusing, and it's refreshing, especially with the loss of Nas for a little while. It's you want to be excited, but you don't know how to take it. Like me, I'm speaking for like me personally. Like this is great. This is exciting, but like, how do you wrap your mind around it?
Well, the game of hockey is a fickle sport. And, a team that is showing dominance, and that's been the case for the Avalanche in so many first periods, this playoffs. And, they will come out and they look good. And I think a lot of people get hung up on the fact that, if it's not a blowout, if they're not scoring at will, what's wrong with the Avalanche? And I don't really look at it that way, because I always say, there's two teams playing here.
Yeah.
And Edmonton was going to, you just knew they were going to play a much better game. And like I said in the beginning, when all three of us picked at this game going 7, I don't think it was less of because of the Avalanche not playing up to their potential. They were. It was Edmonton kind of really upping their game when the playoffs came. But this is like okay, like the Avs. This was, I think we've said this before with like, especially in the Nashville series. What you got from Nashville is the best that you could get from them.
Yeah.
And there's no way that Nashville team can beat the Avalanche 4 times. And right now, just the way Colorado is playing, Edmonton is doing everything that they can. They are playing to the best of their ability, and they can't get past Colorado. They can't get a game 1. Now they might win game 4, who knows? But this, I just feel like this is the Avalanche playing so much better than their opponents.
Yeah.
And that's not to slight Edmonton, but Colorado is just clicking on all cylinders, with the exception of the power play. And I want to talk about that for a second, because a lot of people, you just look at the numbers and it's like, oh, what were they? 0 for 5, I want to say. 0 for 5.
0 for 5. Yeah.
Bad. If you can get 1 or 2 of those, this game.
One of those was a 5-minute major, by the way.
Exactly. And if you can get 1 or 2 of those in, and on the major, if you can get 2 just on the major, then things are just more comfortable. It makes you more comfortable to have that lead. But if you're watching the game on that 5-minute major, the Avs didn't come away with a goal. You clearly don't want that. But they had 9 shots on goal during that 5-minute major.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're getting chances. And on all of the power plays, they gain the zone with relative ease. We're setting up plays. It's not like Edmonton was attacking them in the neutral zone and knocking the puck loose and sending it back down to the defensive end. Like, Avalanche had chances.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm happy with that. The results is the issue. You know what I mean? Like, you do want to see some goals go in, clearly. But I mean, they're setting up, and you didn't have Nazem Kadri on any of those power plays.
True,
he is
very
a
true.
big part of that too.
But you did have him on the night you went 1 for 7 on the power play.
Very true. Very true. I don't know. I'm looking at it in 2 ways. I'm looking at it as like they're doing what they should be doing on the power play, but you're just not getting the result. So fine. There's good and bad to that, where I'm not just making this sweeping statement, they're 0 for 5, power play sucks. No, like, I'm not looking at it like that. I'm sorry.
And, and going back to your point about how they're playing Edmonton, and Edmonton's giving all they got, a lot of the comments like that we've been getting on YouTube, everybody's kind of starting to buy into the hype, which is great. It's about time, Avs fans. Like, love this team. Talking about this being a short series, and I just kept saying, wait till we play a game in Edmonton, and then you can make your assessment.
Yeah.
I'm starting to buy into the hype now. Like, if this is how Edmonton plays at home, and Nuke and JT Compher are the ones to seal the deal for you, and Mikko puts in an empty netter, like, is this it? Like, I'm not looking at is this all Edmonton can do? Is it just like the top line cancels each other out, and then Frankie, this is back-to-back outstanding games from Francouz.
Yeah.
Is this like is St. Louis going to be the hardest hurdle on the way to the Cup?
It's looking that way. I don't know what Edmonton has no answer for the depth of the Avalanche.
Exactly.
None. And how that's not going to change.
No.
You know what I mean? And even you had Burakovsky out, because he's probably still got a nice little Charlie horse. Abe Kubel's out. And not to say that Abe Kubel is,
he's the linchpin for the Avalanche. Go ahead and quote tweet it now.
You had 2 guys out, and what happens? You just, we'll just replace them, and that's the next man up mentality, and they don't miss a beat. So it's a big ask for any team, and especially Edmonton, who was playing their best hockey of the season going into this series, and they can't crack the Colorado Avalanche.
And not only that, like you mentioned, Berkey and Knock going down. Nas only played 37 seconds tonight.
Right. Yeah.
So they played down tonight.
He basically didn't play. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they played down and still were able to come back from a McDavid early goal.
First shot of the game.
One shot, one goal, didn't let it get in their head. Frankie got right back to business. Newt got everything going. You didn't even notice an absence, like they were playing down. Like the depth is outstanding.
I'm telling you, man, I was sitting back watching this game. I was so just comfortable and reserved watching this game from the comfort of my living room. And I think it was for two reasons. One, I just felt like the Avs were going to come out on top of this game. And two, if they lost, I mean, you're still up 2-1 in the series. And the way that they were playing, I just have a comfortability level with this team that I haven't had in a long time. And a loss in the playoffs does not just make me stew for a day until they play again like it has before. I am so high on this team right now, and I'm not, again, like we still have another game to go and we, to get to where we want to, but man, I just love this team and I have so much confidence in this team.
Listen, Avalanche fans, we are one step away, one game from the Stanley Cup Finals. If you are trying to tell me why we should not buy into this team right now, on the verge of sweeping the Edmonton Oilers, like you got to really come at me with a case, because the depth on this team alone is a reason to buy into this team. Yeah. And we talked last episode about we want the cup being superstitious. This is something you should believe in right now, because this team is probably the team you can believe in most since 2001. So it's about time to start buying in.
Yeah, it's just fun to watch. It really is. And, going into that atmosphere and like we said, the McDavid first shot of the game, I mean, couldn't start any worse. But once again, the Avs give up the first goal and it's just like, all right, well, it's almost like Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs would give you that first strike.
Yeah.
Just give it to you. Yeah. And because he knew, like, that's fine. I know how to hit. I'll give you that first one and then I'm coming after you. And I'm not saying the Avs are purposely giving up a goal. But they do, and it's like, okay, fine. We'll just get back to work, and we'll take it back.
It's like Floyd Mayweather when he sits there and lets somebody get exhausted.
Yeah.
And they use everything they got, and then they come back and just absolutely obliterate you.
So that's the good. The bad is glaring on multiple accounts.
Oh, yeah.
With Nazem Kadri and Evander Kane. So we will get to that, but BetOnline, we're going to talk about them first. BetOnline.net, it's your number one source for all of your betting stats and sports info. You can find all the latest sports developments, all the news and odds, including this year's basketball championship matchup, the NHL Hockey Conference Finals, Major League Baseball, and of course, the latest fighting and MMA and UFC and boxing news. You can, BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. You can head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more on the trends and the action. It's betonline.net. It's where the game starts. So like Kyle said earlier, Nazem Kadri, 30 some odd seconds before getting checked right into the boards on a nasty, disgraceful garbage hit from Evander Kane. What else should we expect from Evander Kane? And the thing, like, he's like a wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like, he's always complaining, and he viciously threw Nas into the boards the way he did, and then he's like putting his hands palms up, like what I do. Just, that's a whole nother topic. But it was ugly. It was nasty. He got a 5-minute major for it. Nas, like we said in the very beginning, is out for at least the rest of the Western Conference Finals. You would have to think, I mean, that's all relative depending on how many games this takes for the Avs to finish off Edmonton, and then on the East Coast, the Rangers and the Lightning. So if it's relatively quick, if the Rangers sweep Tampa Bay, which I'm thinking anybody expects them to do that, but I'm just saying, if it's relatively quick, if the Avs make quick work of Edmonton and the Rangers make quick work of the Lightning, and then we have a Stanley Cup final in a few days, like, he's not going to be back. So it's all relative on when the Stanley Cup final actually will start. But this is not good news for the Avalanche, clearly. I mean, like I said, I still feel good about this team, and they've shown the next man up mentality. Kadri's a different animal. He's been having a fantastic playoff, and now he's not going to be there. So, number one, we'll start with the hit and Evander Kane. Go on that.
I will. I don't know. I said this in the Locked On Avalanche Twitter space, by the way. On game day, you can find us there on Twitter. It's a great place to hang out. If you take the storyline from game 2 out of it, the hit was a hit. Naz took it weird and got hurt. There's no need to react like St. Louis would and start screaming about Evander Kane. He's this, that, and the other. There's a hockey hit, and hockey things happened. You hate to see it. Evander Kane's still skating, and Naz isn't. And that was at the end. He kept head hunting for the rest of that game.
As soon as he got out of the box, he went right. I think it was Sturm. I think he went right after Sturm, seconds after he got out of the box.
And I have a feeling it's because in his mind, sitting in the sin bin, thinking about all the bad he did. I think he knows that once the Department of Player Safety reviews that, there might be repercussions. So we'll see how it goes. Mm-hmm. That's the Kane situation. Not thrilled with it. It happened. No amount of belly aching is going to change it. What we have now is no Nazem Kadri. And this is a player that anybody who's listened to the show, they know is literally my favorite player on the Avalanche. Yeah. The Avalanche rallied around him in the St. Louis series. The Players Tribune article, everybody got on the Naz side. And now you see the national narrative miraculously now in this series. Naz is a good guy. Give him a chance. Mm-hmm. And he's gone. You hate to see it. Everything that he is overcoming when he comes to like his past and like the goonery and setting it right, you have that feeling that he's not going to see the end of the road. He's not going to see it to fruition. And that stings the most. When it comes to production, like we were talking about, you didn't see Naz. I mean, you didn't see Nathan McKinnon. You didn't see Mikko. Like Mikko put the empty netter in, but other than that, like he's got 3 goals. Like they're not there. You're getting your scoring from the depth. It's not that big of a factor. Now going into the Stanley Cup, it might be, and his absence will really be felt. How long it'll be, who knows? But I think it's just that guy to rally around. It's almost like that Ray Bork moment that, hey, we're not going to let this guy lose another playoff. We're going to get him a cup. You had that feeling around Naz as well. Like, hey, he's made up for all this. He likes being here. Let's get this guy a cup and show him everybody what this guy's capable of. That's gone. How do the Avs, do they continue to rally around him? Sure. Dedicate this whole season to him? That's what you want to see.
Yeah. Well, the Kane hit, I know like things happen in hockey but there's certain players when they do something like this, you're like, the dude learns nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people who want to say like, well, what's Nazem Kadri learned? A lot.
Yeah.
And you're not watching the Colorado Avalanche. Like I'm willing to bet you're from a different fan base if you're saying like, well, you know, that's the guy who got hit has his own problems. Sure. But he's gone out of his way to try to correct them. Is Evander Kane putting up a article in the Players Tribune? I haven't seen one. You know what I mean? Like, so with Kane, I mean, that was just a vicious and uncalled for hit. His numbers are clearly in front of you. He's 5 feet away from the boards, and you viciously throw him into the boards. Now, I think at the very least, you're going to be seeing a fine.
Yes.
I don't know if you will be seeing a suspension. I think the league might look at it as like, well, he was given a 5-minute major. That's a punishment. Well, okay, that's an in-game punishment, but you know, that doesn't mean there shouldn't be like some residual punishment. And I would not be surprised if he gets a game. Wouldn't be surprised.
Not at all.
But
you know what? I think honestly, it's Evander Kane. A fine might hurt him just as bad.
Yes, you're right. So we'll see. I mean, they're definitely going to obviously look at it, but I think you are getting at the very least a fine with the possibility of at least a game. I don't think you get anything more than a game for that. But again, like, how is that helping his team? And this
Exactly.
this is the part where, like, I would never want, like, Evander Kane is not that guy for me that, like, you root against if he's not on your team and you root for when he's on your team. He's not that guy for me. And that is why, because you just scored seconds into the game, the arena is going crazy, and then you do that. How is that helping it? Regardless if the Avalanche didn't score on it, doesn't matter. That arena went from the roof was blown off to you could hear a pin drop.
Yep.
And that's because he does stupid things like that all the time. So yeah, from that aspect, he might not be there for game 4. We shall see. We know Nazem Kadri is not going to be there. I don't sure, that'll hurt them. Let's not kid ourselves. That'll hurt them. It'll hurt them the most in what we talked about earlier, the power play. Mm-hmm. That's where it will hurt them. Someone can step up and fill that role on the second line. And they have, I think Burakovsky not playing, having another day to heal. He hopefully will be back unless that's a really bad injury that he sustained. I don't know. But he can come back. You know what I mean? Like, you have guys that can step up on 5-on-5 where I feel good. I feel comfortable.
You can pull Lecky up to that PP1.
Which I'm surprised they weren't doing.
I know.
I said that, and nothing against JT Compher, because he's been fantastic lately. But I was a little surprised that they did not have Lehkonen on that top line. But whatever. All right, let's get to our sound check, and then we have some other things in the game that I kind of wanted to get to, especially with the Avalanche. Like, the first goal that they scored was a little help from Edmonton, and then Leon Draisaitl himself does not look good. So let's get to our sound check. And if you are new to this, Kyle and I pick a song that we feel best summarizes the most recent game, win or lose. In this case, game 3 against the Edmonton Oilers. And these songs go up on a playlist over on Spotify. Just search for LOP and Soundcheck. Follow along, and then we throw new songs up after every game. What do you got for this one, my man?
From the Great War of Fall Out Boy versus Panic at the Disco.
That's a war?
It was a war.
Was it really? I'm not in the what do they call that music? Like
alternative?
No. That's an insult to alternative music.
Emo punk?
Emo. Yeah. That's kind of like the emo verse, isn't it?
I was there for a while. I was on Team Fall Out Boy until they sold out. And then I was like, Panic at the Disco's always stayed the same.
Yeah.
And that's who's bringing us today's sound check. Panic at the Disco, Northern Downpour. We went across the border.
Okay.
And, that arena was, and I called it in the Twitter space. I said it was like the Bizarro World Ball Arena. That place was hopping. That place was jumping. And all of that energy was taken out of there. They were wearing their own Edmonton Oilers chains. I was like, okay, this is just weird and I don't like it.
Right.
But boy, they were filing out of there at the end. And took a little bit of Avalanche up in Alberta. Can't spell Alberta without an A. But went up there, took care of business. Northern Downpour, Panic at the Disco.
And Panic at the Disco, like, it was always Panic ! At the disco.
Yes.
And then they got rid of the exclamation point. And then I think the exclamation point is back.
It's back. It is back.
So they can't make up their mind on punctuation for some reason.
At least they realize it.
Hey, my daughter, obviously huge into Frozen. So obviously Frozen 2, they do the version of I think it's Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. Thumbs up, Panic at the Disco, I gotta say.
It's really good.
Yeah. Weezer does a song on Frozen 2 soundtrack, by the way. Lost in the Woods. Yeah.
That's right. I gotta find a Weezer song to put in one of these sound checks. They need some love.
We haven't had Weezer yet, I don't think. For me, I'm going with a song I'm going with a cover version of it. It's been covered by a lot of people. I think it was written in like the 50s or 60s for a play, but it's gone through the channels of so many people covering it. I know Michael Bublé covers it. but I'm going with the Muse version. Love Muse. I saw them open for the Red Hot Chili Peppers years ago, and I was blown away. And this song is called "Feeling Good," and you'll probably know it when you hear it. And again, I'm not getting ahead of myself, but like I said earlier in the show, where the Avs are at, how they're playing, I just have a comfortability level, and I'm feeling good. That's all I can really say about it.
I get goosebumps thinking about it, man. It's just, it's right there. It's right there.
You're right there. You are right there. Monday cannot come fast enough. Now, do you want them to throw this so it can go back to Colorado and win it on home ice?
Ooh, you want me to answer that right now?
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I don't need
Manson's banged up. You still want Berkey to heal up. You want to take Nas to the finest doctors of the country.
I'm not asking just, for those reasons, which are all valid reasons. I'm just asking so the home crowd can enjoy it and experience it.
No, let's get there on a heartbreak, baby.
Yeah. I'm with you on that, but I know there's some people in the back of their minds that are like, it would be nice to. I'll say this. If they do lose game 4, okay. I'm all right. Let's go do it on home ice. But no, you're not throwing in the towel in any way, shape, or form.
Trust me, you'd much rather see the Avalanche come back to Denver as Western Conference champions than you would a defeated team looking to be Western Conference champion.
Yeah. I don't know how defeated they would be. Yeah, you've just lost one game, but I know you're right there. Just get it, and especially with all of this is like going into the playoffs. Remember, some of the injuries they had with Landeskog and Kadri had an injury, Gerard, but he came back a couple of weeks earlier. You want to get this over and done with. So you had, like you said, you had Manson going to the board. It seems like he was okay, but he might wake up with some aches and pains tomorrow morning. You want to get this over with, and then hope that the Lightning can show up and make that thing go 7 games, so you are rested.
And Darcy's skating.
Is he? I didn't see that. Yeah,
Darcy was on the ice today before the game, or yesterday before the game. So that's still out there, even though we're going to ride Frankie until he falls apart.
Oh, you have to. You absolutely have to.
It's there. So to know you'll have both going into the eventual Stanley Cup, that's what you want to hear.
Yeah, all good. For the Avs, like we said in the beginning, the goals didn't come easy. Mike Smith played a good game. The Avs threw another 40 plus shots on goal at him, and it seemed like he got injured at some point in the game, and the Avs they noticed it, but they just couldn't collect the puck and take advantage of the puck and take advantage of that. It seemed like he was struggling to stand. It seemed like he worked through it throughout the game.
It's like he's Wolverine.
Yeah, his adamantium kicked in. But so I thought he played a good game, but the goals were tough to come by for the Avs. The very first Val Nichushkin one was off of Darnell Nurse.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a shot really that was going towards the net. Just going towards the front of the net, and it hit him and went in. But that's all the Avs need, is just to get that one. And then Nichushkin got another one. He came so close to getting that hat trick.
Yeah.
I think it was a pass from Nathan McKinnon on a 2-on-1, and I think it hit the crossbar and just sailed high. So you had that, and Leon Draisaitl. He's not 100%. He hasn't been 100% for most of these playoffs, but he was mixing it up with Nathan McKinnon, and he went down, and you could see him get up, and he was hurt. And you got to give him credit. You got to give Mike Smith credit for working through it, and you got to give Leon Draisaitl credit for working. This is the playoffs. They're not going to take themselves out. But is there a point where it's like you're hurting more than you're helping?
No, we talked about it in the first segment. Avalanche depth is better than Edmonton depth. If I'm Leon Draisaitl, I'm looking behind me. Leon Draisaitl, the Great Value brand, is not sitting there. If I'm at 40%, it's better than what is behind me in Edmonton.
I know there's some truth to that, but he okay, Bowen Byram is a lot smaller than Leon
Mm-hmm.
Draisaitl, and Draisaitl could not even push. Draisaitl had the puck and was, you could tell, was trying to make a power move in the front of the net, and Bowen Byram just stuck right with him. He couldn't even shake Bowen Byram off of him.
If you get just a glimpse of Leon Draisaitl, that's enough, and that's what they're hoping for. But it's
Yeah,
if you take him out, you feel like the series is over.
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you don't. I mean, maybe not that game, but because you're down a guy for the rest of the game. You know what I mean? It's not like you can sub someone in for him and you're back to full lines.
Yeah.
But do they look at this going forward? I mean, I don't know. It sounds stupid to say, like, no, like you're saying, like a 50% Leon Draisaitl is still their best chance. But a 50% Leon Draisaitl against the Colorado Avalanche is going to do nothing. He's not going to do anything. He was just turning the puck over, and when he did, he just looked so defeated, and he couldn't even like get on his horse to build up momentum to get back on defense. He was just like, I'm done. I don't have it. I don't know, man. Like that is a liability. And I don't know what who would replace him. I don't know who Edmonton's,
Exactly. Exactly.
So if you do, you're maybe asking someone that's unproven. I don't know. Maybe that's something I got to ask Brett. I will ask Brett. What's his take on it? Because he's one of the best players in the league, but like I said, is he hurting more than he's helping?
If you can,
I'm looking at that and be like, play please, because he's not a threat right now.
Well, the Avalanche have the depth. Like, you could get scoring, like Darren Helm sent us to where we are right now. Like, you don't really have that option in Edmonton. Like, if you take out Draisaitl, like you're what you're hoping for, your back's against the wall in Edmonton. Like, if you lose, that's it. You're hoping for one last gasp of adrenaline, just one more effort. He does one more Draisaitl thing, and that puts you right to where you want to be. And you'll take all the bad shifts you could possibly get just for that glimpse of normal Draisaitl.
Yeah. He's like I said, it's the playoffs. He's not going to take himself out. He's going to see this thing to the end, but that hurts Edmonton. Clearly hurts Edmonton. So, all right. Again, and I also wanted to say with the Avs, some like class by them at the end. Another penalty committed by Edmonton. Who was it? Because it was they gave him a misconduct. It was
I had his name.
Brad Malone with a stupid cross check.
Wasn't that Ray Romano's brother and Everybody Loves Raymond?
What's his brother's name in that?
Because they were Malones. Wasn't it
they
Brad
were
Malone's?
Oh, now it's gonna kill me. It's Ray and it was right on the tip of my tongue. Oh God, it's gonna kill me. Anyway, but the Avs, they had a power play with less than a minute to go. They threw like the third line power play out. That Jack Johnson was out there, and they just did four corners and just passed it around, and didn't just try to throw some more shots on that to just get a meaningless goal. And when the Evander Kane stuff happened, which, like you said, is in the first minute of the game, they didn't go after him. They're like, we're just going to go win the game. Edmonton, you can concern yourself with gooning it up like that. We're going to go score some goals and win the game. So, and I said on Twitter, like, if this game does get out of hand, then the Avs will retaliate. Mm-hmm. That's the way that it goes. But the Avs they were not going to do what Evander Kane did. They were not going to shoot themselves in the foot even further and retaliate and put somebody in the box for 5 minutes or a 10-minute misconduct because he wants to be stupid. They weren't going to do it. So
it's not the Avalanche game.
No, I'm proud of this team. So, all right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for the Sunday edition of Locked On Avalanche. We will probably be back on Tuesday after, we'll record after the Monday game for the Tuesday episode, but we didn't want to wait a day to talk about the Avs going up 3-0. So that's why we're doing it now. And you have a special Sunday edition. So unless something crazy happens on Sunday for Monday, then we'll record. But I think we'll hold off until Monday's game 4. And then hopefully we're talking about good things for the Avalanche going forward. All right, everybody. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. Go check out Locked On NHL, or even Locked On Edmonton Oilers with our boy Brett over there for your second listen of the day. Until next time, he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is Locked On Avalanche Podcast. And I want to say happy birthday to my daughter, Jovi, who's turning 6.
Happy birthday, Jovi.
If you listen to the audio section, she's always the one that says "Go Avs, go" at the end. She is now turning 6. I have a 6-year-old in my house. What the hell am I going to do now?
Wow.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys probably on Tuesday.